So just think about that. If you dug a hole that was 1 inch deep and then you just went a mile wide, just digging 1 inch holes everywhere that you went, well, you'll never be great at any of those things because you got all these what they call shallow minds. You just did a little bit, a little bit, little bit, little bit. You dabbled in all these things, but you didn't go deep enough in any one of them to actually become good. So you don't have any real tangible skills in anything. You're just a career dabbler. When instead, people who are at the highest levels of certain things, at some point, doesn't mean you had to do it from the beginning, but at some point, they go an inch wide, but a mile deep. So they become so in depth in their knowledge and skill and experience and abilities at a specific thing or some intersection of things that they become amazing at that thing. Now, again, you're not going to be able to go a mile deep at everything because you don't have enough time. You don't have enough resources. But you have to go deep enough that you can make a decision based on some real tangible, real life feedback on how does it make sense for me to keep going or does it not make sense for me to keep going? So what you should do, I'll give you an understanding that comes from the business world and from the marketing world, is that you have to give yourself clear parameters for how much of a test you have to do on a thing before you move forward. So to give you an example, I sent an email out this morning, which is about how to be, same thing I talked about in the live stream yesterday. I wrote a whole email about it and sent it out to my list this morning. It's all about how to be fully regimented in 2025. And what we did is we sent a split test. A split test simply means we're going to send a certain percentage of the audience. Let's just break off a piece of the audience. So let's say 20%. So 20% of the audience, we're going to do a test. Half of them, we're going to send an email with this subject line. And the other half, we're going to send an email with this subject line. Again, this is just 10% of the whole audience. And then we're going to send that email out. We're going to see how people respond to that. And then based on which one is getting the most clicks based on the subject line, we're going to send the other 80% of the list an email with that headline, the one that won, quote unquote, won the test. The whole point is we have a way of measuring. We have a reason to decide between headline A or subject line A and subject line B, which one we're going to use. But we're measuring something. I'm telling you that to tell you this. Anything that you do in life, you need to decide, how am I going to measure whether it makes sense for me to keep doing this or it doesn't make sense for me to keep doing it. You have to give yourself some sort of measurement. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in numbers, but there has to be something that you can measure that you can say, okay, it makes sense here or it doesn't make sense.